right, so I think
yeah,
whenever you're ready.
Welcome everybody. If we could just bow our heads as we begin. Let's see. Asaina Itahululu, we come before you with humble hearts and steady hands. We gather in this space as one people, bound by Inafa'maolek, to make good for each other, to be in relationship with our islands, our ancestors, and one another. We lift up our relatives across the Marianas, especially those in the northern islands and throughout Micronesia who are carrying the weight of these storms. Hold them in your protection, surround them with strength, with rest, knowing that they are not alone. We give thanks for the hearts and hands already in motion, for those on the ground, for those organizing from near and far, for every act of care, no matter how small. Bless this network of mutual aid, that it may move with clarity, humility, and purpose. Guide us to listen deeply, to act with integrity, and to center those impacted in every decision we make. May our work resist harm and exploitation, and instead uplift self-determination, dignity, and true just recovery. May we remember that we are not here to save, but to stand with and to walk alongside our island communities as they rebuild in their own strength and wisdom. Manaina, be with us. May this meeting be purposeful. May our efforts bring relief and connection, and may we walk forward in unity. Guide our words, guide our choices, and guide this gathering tonight. Saina Ma'asi for this time, for this connection, and for the responsibility we carry together. In the spirit of Inafa'maolek, we say, Taigwena Mohon. I am going to pass it over to Brianna.
Sejus Masi. Buenas and Håfa Adai todos hamzu na anhusi Brianna. I'm joining from Ohio, whose name originates from the Haudenosaunee word Ohio, meaning good rivers, and it is a testament to the deep connection between the land and the indigenous peoples who have inhabited it since time itself began. Deeply imprinted in our DNA, we know the land is not separate from us. It is us, and we are it in a continuous cycle of unity and respect. In nearly all indigenous languages, there is no distinction between the peoples and the land in our sacredness. This profound connection embodies our identity, our culture, our spirituality, entwining the destiny of the people with the fate of the land. Today and every day, we explore the deep interconnectedness and interdependence between us and Mother Earth, highlighting how this bond shapes our actions and our responsibilities. As we begin our time today, join me in this journey of understanding, cherishing, and nurturing each other and our Mother Earth as we continue to weave the wisdom of our ancestors into the fabric of modern existence. Saina Masi.
Kayla, if you can lead us in a grounding activity.
How Adai, everyone. My name is Michaela Reese Chaco. I'm in the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ohlone people in the San Francisco Bay Area. And there is undoubtedly some tension that many of us are feeling. And so we're going to embark on this grounding activity just to be present. So if you could go ahead, you can turn off your camera if you feel most comfortable. I invite you to close your eyes. And Hagon Halum, breathe in. Hagon Hudzum, breathe out. Hagon halum, breathe in. Hagon hudzung, breathe out. Hagon halum. Hagon hudzung. If you're sitting, you can press into your seat, or if you're standing, you can push into your feet and feel the skin. Feel your skin, feel the air on your skin, and affirm your physical presence in the room. Hagon halum. Briefly bring to mind one person who helped give you the strength that you're using today. It can be an elder, a friend, or an ancestor. Hagon hudzung. As you breathe out, acknowledge that you are impacted by their resilience, their courage, and their resourcefulness. Remind yourself, we are not building from scratch. We are continuing a cycle of care that has existed for thousands of years. And we'll breathe in 2 more times. Hagon halum. Hagon hudzung. Hagon halum. Hagon hudzung. And situ usma asin.
So we just want to welcome everyone. Håfa Adai, Inafa'maolek Heidi Kenga, Executive Director of the Kutturan Foundation, based in Long Beach, California, here to just walk us through this work and really gather all of our thoughts and the final decisions that have been made and all the workings and inner workings of Inafa'maolek Mutual Aid. So I'm going to start just by sharing now the agenda here, doing some introductions. We'll get updates on the ground. We will share all the logistics. We will identify the leads in the different regions across the continent and back home. And all of the sites, location drop-offs, and all that great stuff will be shared today. We will also have some presentations on what will happen, now that the storm has seemingly passed the most part, and recovery going forward. So I will start with CHamoru Foundation. We were established in 1993 and have been doing this work for quite some time. We did, Tadam, if you can pull up those slides. We started actually this work gathering mutual aid with community members from San Diego all the way up to LA, Typhoon Sinlaku back in 2015. We also helped coordinate mutual aid for Super Typhoon YouTube. And in 2018, we continued the work and really just took the time to be sure that what we were doing was not just, it was actually to answer the call to our people. So we made sure to get the word out, to create, a network of a network of folks that could help us get the work done. We can move to also 2023 with Super Typhoon Mawar. We understand that this work is all about Inafa'maolek and Sensuli. It teaches us, it is the teachings of our Manaina, right? If we carry it forward inherently, we already have it inside ourselves. So we just want to share some of the work that we have done. And now we are here, unfortunately, again, in 2026. Normally this type of work is, spread across, it happens every decade, but unfortunately it's happening far more increasingly. So we are happy to be here. We're happy to share. We're happy to be a resource to everyone in this time of need. I'm going to pass it over to our partners on the ground, MCCA.
Håfa Adai, Tiros, everybody. My name is Marianas. I am a co-lead along with Maria Hernandez of Micronesia Climate Change Alliance, and we are a grassroots, nonprofit, mama-led, small group of really dedicated community members throughout the Marianas, but also from the wider Micronesian region. Our other staff member who's on this call is Jordan Panuelo, and he's from Ponte in the FSM. MCCA, you can go to the next slide, began in 2018, right after Typhoon YouTube made landfall and devastated Tinian and Saipan. And we just realized that our region as a whole wasn't, especially within the Marianas, didn't have enough community members on the ground uplifting and creating resiliency plans for our islands and pushing our government leaders to be more responsive to the impacts that climate change and the climate crisis are bringing to our shores. We saw, especially right after YouTube, that there's these types of instances of natural disasters are going to be increasing in the frequency and in the intensity. And we knew that we needed to activate people on the ground, educate our community, especially our youth, to the impact and the intersectionality of climate change and the global systems that are causing this crisis to begin with. And we're just so grateful to continue to do the relief and the mutual aid work post disasters. That's not all we do, and we know it's disruptive, but these are times that we prepare for intentionally, insofar as our budget and insofar as our capacity. And so we've been on the ground, especially after Super Typhoon Mawar hit our island. Can we move to the next slide? If anyone's, oh yeah. So thank you. So right after Super Typhoon Mawar, we really started to build up our social infrastructure and working with groups like Kutturan CHamoru Foundation and the Inafa'maolek Mutual Aid Network to really move funding and move support on the ground with people. All of our organizers are from the Marianas. We've been able to move funds directly to people as well with another group of nonprofits outside of the 70,000 that we got in funds. And so we were just really just testing our methodology after Super Typhoon Mawar and have really built up the capacity and the infrastructure to be more responsive this time and the next time, unfortunately. But we're just so grateful and amazed by the CHamoru and Marianas diaspora groups throughout the states who are elevating our story, who are gathering resources and driving donations to our community so that we can be a lot more effective and impactful at this time. We also have been able to hire teams of people in Saipan, in Tinian, and in Luta, and we're trying to get connected with folks in Chuuk, because Chuuk was also incredibly devastated by this storm in the early days of this storm. And so we're just really wanting to center the folks on the ground to make the calls to be connected to the folks on the ground. And even though we are all, even from Guam, organizing without internet and without power, we're really just trying to ensure that the people who most need resources are getting them. Just in the last few days, we've moved over $25,000 directly to people in Saipan, Tinian, and Lusa, most especially to the folks in the shelters and in the referral program, the medical referral programs, the families and the medical patients who are awaiting care in Saipan from Rhoda and from Tinian. We've been able to resource those communities in the last few days with much needed supplies. And we've been able to move, just $25,000 immediately right back into relief and the necessary immediate needs of people. We're also wanting to uplift the long-term recovery efforts and the direct aid fundraisers that are out there. We don't want to monopolize any of the work that's being done. There's so many amazing efforts. We just know that we have the social infrastructure and the relationships on the ground and with our community in Manialu across Turtle Island to really move things in an efficient and an effective way. Maria's here with me, and I'm just looking at her if there's anything that I'm missing out. Another thing that we really hope to improve upon and do a lot better this time, or that we have the intention to be creating and have some things ready here on Guam to be sent up to Saipan once Star Marianas is operational, is activities and things specifically for children. We know that children who are addicted to Wi-Fi and just aren't going to have that luxury anymore. And so we have a lot of coloring books and a lot of supplies specifically for kids on the ready here on Guam. And we'll be sending that up as early as Monday, hopefully, into Saipan. There's so many moving parts. We're working with a relief team here on Guam as well, with both the CNMI and the Guam, with the volunteer organizations active in times of disasters. And so we're also supporting a lot of different organizations who are also doing distribution, disbursement, and donation drives, like the Red Cross, like FEMA, and all the church organizations. We're also very much connected to them, but our methodology is a little bit different, and you can share the next tribe, than those bigger organizations who focus on that, because we focus on, just our approach is a little bit different because we are people on the ground where we're from and for these communities. So our work isn't charity work. Our work is definitely mutual aid. Our work is grounded in our cultural values, grounded in Inafa'maolek, is grounded in wanting to make sure that those most vulnerable get the support that they need, especially folks who won't have the eligibility requirements for FEMA or Red Cross, folks who have immigration status. That's also something that we want to be very, very, very mindful of, especially within Saipan, to safeguard our contract worker communities who may not be even wanting to seek assistance for fear of deportation right now. We should share the next slide. We wanted to share a little bit more groundedness around our thoughts and around the national networks that we're a part of. So we are members of a variety of other frontline communities and indigenous communities who are all facing climate disasters and facing increased settler colonial violence on their lands. And so when it comes to disasters, these are some of our frameworks that we want to uplift and educate people around, ensuring that this doesn't happen in our community. We work in a real trust-centered way. We really want to also uplift and educate the fact that the same systems that are causing the climate crisis also swoop in after disasters to find opportunities to make profit, and that's not what we're here for. 100% of the proceeds go directly back into our recovery efforts, both short-term and long-term efforts. And we just truly believe in the self-determination of our coordinators on the ground to move the resources immediately to the people who need it most, and also to be doing it in a way that's really grounded in our cultural values.
Sijus Machineka. We'll have Verna or Michaela for Inafa'maolek.us.
Hey, Auntie Heidi. Auntie Verna is unable to join us, so I will represent on behalf of Inafa'maolek.us. My name is Michaela Reese Chaco. Really humbled to be here in community with you all. And I think Tana was sharing like it's overwhelming to see so many folks. So Inafa'maolek.us is a CHamoru cultural and community-based nonprofit. We primarily have an intergenerational lens, so we support families and just our community to fund and bring culture and arts. We have language workshops. We often invite KCF to the Bay to support and share culture. And we also have resources available, like we have offer a CHamoru Public Library, like I said, regular classes, and we supported. I'm an inheritor of this work in particular, but Auntie Verna helped organize and lead Bay Area efforts with Typhoon Moar. So we're going to continue that work in collaboration with the community. So thank you.
Sijus Masi. We'll have representatives from Inafa'maolek Mutual Aid.
Afade todos hamzu, kahusitadan, Leon White, Tata Manilaus, and Didasco Cruz, Tata Santa Rita. And welcome everyone. Congratulations, everyone on this call is now part of Inafa'maolek Mutual Aid. So we started in 2023 after Typhoon Mawar, and really I think there's not really like a direct English translation for Anaphamalek, right? But everyone on this call feels it. We grew up with it. Our ancestors have done it. We teach it to our children. And the closest words that I feel like when I try to describe Anaphamalek to someone who isn't Chamorro is mutual aid, solidarity, reciprocity, and social harmony. And so that is what came out of this. My background is coming from Occupy Sandy, from Superstorm Sandy in New York in 2013, and then responding to wildfires in other capacities. But really, the first time I got to practice Anaphamalek on this scale was after Mawar. So I'm going to give a chance for um, one of the main organizers for Inafa'maolek Mutual Aid. Janae, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hakbare, Guahu si Janae or Nay, whichever you prefer, whichever is easiest. Probably will respond to anything. Tau Tau Sumai on both sides of my family line. Santos Sablon Tovis Limtiaco Castro Limtiaco. Like Alex and Afamalik, for me is truly everything. It's mutual aid, it's kindness, warmth, generosity, all of the things that my grandparents who were community organizers themselves around the rosary traditions and the tetsa taught me. And, watching Typhoon Mawar on TikTok and seeing the devastation, I had help. And so I jumped in with both feet, and here I am now with some really excellent people. And I am super, super overwhelmed and excited and so, so happy to see all of you here. It's amazing. It's just so amazing. But I'll pass it back to Alex.
Masi. Yeah, so really this Inafa'maolek Mutual Aid, not a nonprofit, it's really all of us coming together after when we know our relatives are in a time of need, and we just do whatever we can, however we can, from wherever we are, right? And so just really want to stress, I'm going to share some lessons from Awar, but just know that however you want to show up, however you want to contribute, however like whatever's in your heart and feels true of of providing support and love and care, even if it's just after this call, you like just try calling your relatives back home and telling them that you love them and that you miss them and that you think of them. That's like Inafa'maolek Mutual Aid. So just know that every way that you want to contribute and support is everything is welcome here. But we're going to share some lessons from 2023 just to show what we learned from last time and what we're doing now and then we'll find opportunities for you to contribute in whichever way you can. Um, so last time, um, it was kind of everything that we've done this week kind of took us like 4 or 5 weeks to put together, build these connections, build these relationships. But what we did is we set up um, donation sites across Northern and Southern California. We even had some relatives from Las Vegas collect donations and drive out. And then we have connections through Payless and their relationship with Matson, who usually is a third-party logistics company. So they're the ones who own and operate those cargo ships. They are donating that both the shipping containers and the actual transportation of these goods. And so we knew after like Mawar, and might be the case in here in terms of times where in our islands a plane isn't able to land, is that we can ship goods this way. So we collected all of these goods, and then in the span of 6 weeks, um, we filled up 2 shipping containers with over 50,000 pounds of goods. And you can see just a small sampling of some of the organizations that were, like through this Inafa'maolek Mutual Aid network. But really, there were so many other people that we're not able to put on a single slide. But just know that that is what we learned from last time. So we had the best of intentions. We made lots of mistakes, and we're doing our best to replicate the things that we did well, and then learn from our mistakes and try to do that smoothly, learn. So all of this is all of us learning together how we can support our relatives that have been hit by a typhoon as quickly as possible. So with that, I believe we can move on to the next part of in terms of what we found is the fastest way, because there's going to be that lead time, right? Of from the time we collect all the donations to putting them in containers to getting them over is going to be at least 2 weeks. Like even if we had everything done today, it would still take 2 weeks physically for those to arrive. So I'm going to pass it back to Sina Heidi to talk about um, the impact of monetary donations and where they go.
Yeah, I'll have Maria, if she is on, to fill us all in on that. Yeah.
Yes, I'm
Real
here.
quick.
Håfa Adai, Todohamzu. Can everybody hear me okay? We found a good Wi-Fi spot here in Agana. So, buenas, buenas. Inanhusi Maria Hernandez. I'm co-director of MCCA with Minyaka. One thing that comes to mind in doing this work and around finding community-centered solutions to the climate crisis, to the impacts that we're facing, the realities that we live every day, is this talking to the youth about what do you need to be a protector of our island, what do you need to move forward with efforts to be defenders, be the next generation of defenders of our lands and our waters. And one thing in speaking with them is they've shared that Gwynniza is the first thing that we really need to center in this work, and that's love for our home islands. And so I feel the love in the room today, and there are a lot of moving parts around what is happening on the ground in all of the islands. We have so far, Ineka touched on some of the funding that we've received so far, but we have about $32,928 in our PayPal through mutual aid donations. So just sending so much gratitude and love to our networks across the ocean, even cross-territorially. We have folks on the ground in all the U.S. territories really trying to pull funds toward this effort. Before the typhoon hit, MCCA was already applying for disaster response funding. And so we've been, tapping on that funding. We are planning a meeting with the Sinlaku leaders to talk about funneling the mutual aid donations to leaders on the ground in Sinlaku who are coordinating the different drives. And so we're planning a budget meeting very soon around that. Any other updates next around the funding? We're also working with Marianas Strong, and they have about $40,000 that they've received in funding so far. And what has really helped us be efficient on the ground in the islands, especially in Saipan and Tinian, is our strong membership network. And we have board members who are in the different islands. They're based in Saipan. Our board members are actually from each of the islands in the Marianas. We have teams on the ground in each of the islands already doing immediate mutual aid work who are trained with the same values and the just recovery framework. We're also part of the local BOAD, as Manyaka mentioned. So we're connected with all the agencies on the ground doing work to ensure that there's no overlap. We have a whole team activated out there. So that's one arm. And we can share in the chat the drive, the immediate relief drive that we're holding at LBJ Elementary alongside Ajuda Foundation and Guam BOAD. So these are just some efforts on the ground that the funding is going toward. And then as we speak, we're in communication with Guam Sustainable Culture and some folks who are just reaching out in their individual capacity with chainsaws, who are ready to get into different parts of the community to do debris removal. After Mawar, we were blessed with our network with GSC that provided fresh tilapia that we were able to distribute in the communities up north. We also are planning on doing a grocery and gas voucher distribution in vulnerable communities in Wuhan, and we have already voucher distributions happening on the ground in the Northern Islands, as Manyaka mentioned. And just yesterday, through our donation drive, we were able to send out about 10 pallets of water. It's about 19,200 bottles of water that went out to Saipan through efforts of the Ajuda Foundation. And yeah, there's just a lot of moving parts. We haven't really slept. And, we're a little bit delulu, but we're doing what we can to just pull efforts on the ground and work with our coordinator teams who have their own mini teams at the distribution sites to ensure that the most vulnerable communities receive these supplies. And I guess the last thing that comes to mind that the funding is going toward is we just got an update from one of our coordinators that they were able to provide food essentials to about 20 referral patients and their families. So about 40 people altogether awaiting medical care on Saipan. We were able to provide food essentials to them. So yeah, just a lot happening. Please continue to follow on social media and uplift the efforts. And, it's all with Gwenaiza that we do this work. Manyaka and I have been doing this work, combined organizing experience of more than 35 years in our home islands for the protection of our waters and lands and peoples. And we're so blessed with a community of people on the ground here who have been, in Sinlaku. We wouldn't be able to do this without you all, and just the networks that we've built through this work have been so inspiring. So that's the update on our end about the funding and where things are going.
Anamasi Maria. We also want to bring in and introduce our Commonwealth 670, if Gabby is on. And also Putehi Guam, if you are on, please share a little bit about your organization.
Kasalelia, Håfa Adai, Guausi Gabriela. I'm calling in from Los Angeles on behalf of Wineka Flores and my relatives with Putehi Guahan. they just wanted me to share that we do have a direct support form. I'm going to drop that in the chat very quickly, but we're also overseeing some direct support mutual aid efforts. And so, like I said, I'll put this in the chat real quick, but this is the form for folks in the NMI who need who have I believe like Zelle, Venmo information, and so they can request funds directly using this form. And so that's what we've been overseeing. Thank you for having me.
Masi. Yes, we will provide that information as well. So for now, we will move to the actual containers that we have confirmed. There will be one out of the Oakland port, and then that will head to Guam. And then there'll be one out of the Long Beach port, and that will be heading directly to Saipan. We are working on trying to confirm another donated container from Matson out of the Pacific Northwest, which would be out in Tacoma. So that is still pending, but I do want to say that our timelines are very tight. We are trying to do this within 3 weeks. So our final load-in days for both containers is going to be Saturday, May 9th. So once we go through the listing of the locations, the donation sites, everyone can figure out how they can gather their goods and things and donations. And then also we'll go over the listing of what is accepted, what is not, and all of that great stuff. So hang tight as we continue to work through confirming with Matson that third container. And if this continues, if needed, we will request yet a second and a third beyond in both areas or 3 areas. It just really all depends. Let's see, we will get, okay, yeah, so we have the supply list here, and I will have Tarun go on over that with this.
Wonderful, yes. And to answer that question that was in the chat, so the May 9th is when all of the supplies that you see on the screen need to be packed on pallets into the container. So the final day for donation drop-off would need to happen prior to that. We definitely recommend for those donation sites, at least doing it the day before, if not earlier, because we need to have all of these materials and these supplies that have been requested sorted, labeled, organized before they're put onto the containers themselves. So you can see this list here, the URLs there and the QR codes. We're going to continually update it as we continue to get that information from the frontline communities and like say the Tinian mayor. Whatever we're hearing from people, we're going to continually update this list as it goes on. But I think really importantly is I want to draw your attention to the right part of the screen where it says prohibited items. If it's a little small, I'll just read it out. So prohibited items are lithium and lithium ion batteries, hazardous materials, fuel, refrigerant, and then liquids. And so that's obviously for safety reasons. That's dangerous. So we can't do that in terms of explosions and things like that. And then this is update for this year. We just got feedback from one of our person we're coordinating with Matt's in the shipping containers is that clothing, bed sheets, and toys, those are acceptable, but oftentimes with a lot of these drives, people will drop them off loose or in bags or things like that. So it can make that difficult to sort and everything like that. So if people are able to donate it in boxes labeled pre-organized, we can accept that. But otherwise, we'd say there's a lot of other items that are higher priority. So I might turn this over to the MCCA. Manyet Lu, if you have any feedback on this list and kind of your experience of receiving those materials from the previous drives.
Thanks, Tasha. yeah, this list is coming from people directly in Tinian and Saipan primarily, and then Roto also has been trickling in with some input after they saw the list. And yeah, this is like the list of the immediate needs, and also just building off what we knew after Mawar, what people really needed and wanted. We know that the winds have died down. It's going to be really hot. Power is not going to be available to a lot of our family members, and so the lights and the fans are going to be incredibly relieving to folks. Those are a lot cheaper to get in this and a lot more abundant to source in the States, but we just do have to be mindful of the lithium batteries in those things. One of the requests too, just after learning about Mawar, we did get a lot of secondhand use things, which was, for the most part was good, but we did get things like winter coats and materials for fishing for fly fishing. And I don't know I have a partner who's a pescador, and he doesn't know how to fly fish, but doesn't know anyone that fly fishes in the Marianas. But yeah, we just had some things that weren't really necessarily appropriate for our efforts here. So if we could stick to the list, that would be really, really helpful. But for the most part, anything and everything goes a long, long way, especially to the family. And there's still about 400 families between Saipan and Tinian alone that are still in shelters and don't have a home to return to as of yet. So they're going to be needing towels, clothes, and almost everything because they lost almost everything. So we do know that even if there's going to be items not on this list, that will be helpful as well.
So we're going to go Tarang to our regional chapters, those that are gathering and have location sites. We'll start with Northern California. Michaela, if you want to share, and then everyone down, I will, bring you in and explain and let us know those donation sites that they can actually go to.
Happy to. So we have donation sites in Fresno, Roseville, Sacramento, San Francisco, in multiple locations. Oh, thank you. And they have various hours and dates for drop-off location. Final day to drop off at these locations will be May 7th. And then on May 9th, we will gather in Oakland to load up the materials to be sent out that week. And then anyone questions, there is a Northern California WhatsApp group if you are want to be involved. I'm happy to share that link in the chat.
Yes, Mossy. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just to add, so we have a sign up form. So if you see that there are donation sites outside of this area, either direct that to the lead or just take it upon yourself to input that into the form, and we'll continue to update this list. So it is, I think something we continually can be proud of like is how Geftau Itautauta, people are so generous, is that people are creating more opportunities to donate than we can even keep up with. So this is a call for anyone on this call, any way that you can contribute to, small little things like for this admin work of like updating the drop-off list locations and things like that. Keep sharing the resources and building the network and just promoting the beautiful work that everybody's doing, because there's just yes, we're the ones talking right now, but you all have just as much power and agency and autonomy and creativity and intelligence and talents to have this grow as much as all of us can grow this together, all 120 of us on this call right now. So what you're seeing here is not the complete list, but help us build a complete list together.
Yes, in the Southern California area, Long Beach at the Pacific Island Ethnic Art Museum, that will be a location. Palele Projects is in Los Angeles. For those in the Valley, that's probably your closest. And then I'm going to pass it. Also, the Pacific Island Health Partnership is in Orange County, and that can cover that area. We are looking for probably a location in the San Bernardino area if anyone is available. And then I'm going to pass it to the San Diego area, to Tolly, if you can jump in.
Hi, I don't know if you could see me. Apologies, I'm currently at a liberation fundraiser. But for the Sons and Daughters of Guam Club, we we will start our drive tomorrow. So Saturday, April 18th. Our hours are basically 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. We'll be going on until May 6th, just so that it gives us May 7th and May 8th to finalize any packing before bringing it up to Long Beach. But yeah, I have a flyer. I just don't know how to add it in right now. If there is anyone in San Diego, we are looking for volunteers to help with collections, just so we have a little bit more hands other than myself and like the few board of directors that we do have. But yeah, if you have any questions.
You too, Smasi Tolly. All right, and then I'm going to move it to Ed Sablon, who's up in the Pacific Northwest, if you want to share some of your upcoming events, drop-off locations, etc. Ed, are you there?
I saw they joined early. They might have dropped off. Elise or anyone else from the Pacific Northwest want to share?
Happy to support here. I have some notes available. Hello, everybody. Håfa Adai, Inafa'maolek Elise. I was born and raised on Guam in a village that begins with a Y that apparently everybody on the island says rules, which is Digo. Aha. You thought I was gonna say Donya, but it's Digo. I'm Digolet. Let me just put the notes. I'm gonna share my screen real quick if that's okay. Okay. So we are pretty new in our mutual aid efforts. We're learning as we go. We're just ramping up now. And for the Washington State area, and this is kind of what Ed was helping to lead. We have two upcoming donation drives that are happening. So the first one is this Sunday at Palace Casino Bar and Grill. This is in the Tacoma Lakewood area. And what we're trying to do is really create a bit of a strategy on what donations we're collecting at this point, and then how we're sending them out. So our goal right now is to collect the really urgent things that you guys saw on that list coming from Saipan and Tinian, and then to try to get it air freighted. We're in communication with a shipping company that may be able to support air freight services for urgent needs for other areas, for other states. More information will be coming on that once we get just kind of confirmation on the volume and the level of support they're able to offer for those other states and what that's going to look like. And then for next weekend, it's going to be the same group of people at the same place as well. So that'll be Saturday, April 25th. This is actually a Marianas night concert. And initially, all of the proceeds from this concert were supposed to go to the CNMI Labor Day event that's happening in September. And but now it's just going to go to relief efforts. So if you're wanting to go check out some music while also supporting our islands and our work, I hope to see you there. And then there are some other donation sites that are online. We have Guam Grub in Everett. We're all kind of coming together tomorrow during a strategy call to really just align on all the different locations, what's being collected, where, how can we kind of source some volunteers to help with sorting and packing, and then securing the containers for shipping. We also have other organizations that are kind of helping with volunteer work and things. Gumagela, we have Guma Imahi we're all tapped in right now in the Washington area.
if you have other, if you are a Washington State organization or business, or if you're in Washington State, we have a PNW chat going. So please reach out and we'll get you added to that. For the Oregon area, I'm not as familiar, and I have seen a couple of things that are popping up. I know that in Vancouver, Washington's technically Washington, but we are kind of looping it into this Oregon area since it's closer to the Oregon border there. And they are actually working on individual family shipments. And so the details here are more so around filling the bins right now, and then having it shipped out via I think it's called Marianas drop shipping. And I'm not sure if they have a container that's set up for the MCCA and Matson just yet in the Oregon side. So that information might need to be provided by Ed when he comes back on. I did want to mention too that I know I've seen a lot of requests coming in for the Washington State area around, what can I do to get these shipments directly to my family? We hear you. We know that for MCCA, for Inafa'maolek Mutual Aid, that a lot of the donations that they're receiving are getting distributed to the general public in order to stay aligned with their nonprofit kind of status and things like that. But we are going to see if that global shipping company is able to support us in that effort. And so what's essentially to outline this process, they have a consolidation facility in LA as well. And they are willing to coordinate inland truck delivery from other states. So, that's a whole layer that you're not going to have to think about, right? Or try to like get U-Haul trucks or try to pay for shipping or delivery and things like that. So tonight I'm going to be sending them a solicitation letter, and they said, yeah, please include all of the states that will be participating, and I'm just going to put all 50 and any other organizations. And then from there, they're basically gonna, take that letter as our request and be able to confirm whether they can offer that level of support. And then we'll keep you posted on, the individual family distribution. So thank you, everybody. And then just a quick final note for all those who are really doing great work, putting out flyers and things like that. It's really helpful, as we're intaking all of this information for things to like the state, the date, to be really, really clear. Because I think sometimes when there's so much verbiage, it can be difficult to really identify where these donation sites are. So if you're putting things together, those are kind of just some things that I think would be helpful to route people to the right places. But Sizus Masi, Bulagunaiza, Un Marianas, Unuhit.
Alrighty. To keep in mind also, we are looking for, and if you need to reach out or you know of efforts, in Las Vegas, they can load up and bring their donations out to whichever is closer, Long Beach or the Oakland, containers. We just need to know. And also we've had in the past, folks from Arizona drive in. So that's all doable to avoid those additional shipping costs to get onto the container. So we'll keep that in mind.
I just wanted to add that after Mawar, MCCA was open to getting donations directly to families. We were under advisement from Matson, actually, that wasn't something that they were able to do, was load individual family donations. But yeah, I was just chatting with Nyak on the side, or like Pacific Islander family community, and small communities. So we can talk more about that and what that could look like.
Oh, got you. Dispensa, sorry, I didn't mean to get that detail wrong. It's Madsen. No, just kidding. They're doing a lot to help us. I'm just being facetious.
Alrighty.
Yeah, Matson is an And I just also wanted to plug PDC Warehouse as an amazing partner. They're really waiving a lot of the fees for us, if not most or all of the fees for us around trucking the containers, and just, yeah, we wouldn't be able to do it without just their staff and the equipment that they have, and they're just really lead with their heart too. So Jesus Matsu to them and to Matson and everybody making this possible.
Yes. Alrighty. Is Teresita on from Haleparagua?
Yeah.
Okay, then would you like to share a little bit another way, and I'll let her explain more to be able to participate.
Oh, half a day. Oh, before I begin talking, Auntie, can you hear me? Okay, perfect. Half a day, Guahusi, Teresita Guevara Daniel, Sumaska Sukiza, Maryland, Tau Tau Odor Guahan. I am the founder of Halipa, which is based in the Maryland area. We service our community here in Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. And we are also the sister group to Kutturan Chamorro Foundation and Uno Hit. First, it is an honor to be in this space, but also an honor to speak because I was fully prepared to just listen and to receive. We have started a Amazon wish list. This is something that we did with the last typhoon. Our organization has really expanded over the years of not just connecting and engaging our community that we can touch, but also bridging the gap for all of the Chamorros who live away from our communities. And how can we engage them? So because we're so far away, we're here on the East Coast and we are divided by land. We can't just drive and bring our items to you. So one of the amazing things with technology is that it's able to connect us. So by using Amazon and the Amazon wish list, anyone from anywhere that orders off of the wish list, all of the items will be sent to KCF and will be packed with the rest of the items that are going to be packed at that location. So we encourage everyone to share as much as you can, because Uno Hit, again, even for those who are outside of California, outside of Washington, but think about all the people who are in the Midwest. Think about all the people who are in the northern states on the Eastern Coast. I mean, what we can do if we really encourage everyone that even if you can't drop off physically, you can still donate physically because some people, it's about giving options. You know, some people prefer to give money. Some people really want to give something tangible. So this just allows people to also contribute and to ensure that their donations also make it on that cargo ship. So Sana Masi, Donkalusis Masi, Auntie, for giving me an opportunity to share. And please feel free to chime in if I missed anything.
Yeah, we will from time to time also update this. And if you notice any items that probably should be on there, please let Teresita or myself know, put it in the main chat. We'll be sure, to continue to grow the list and ensure that we are getting the necessary items that are needed on the ground. So, Sijus Masi Teresita.
And then I just wanted to introduce for that Midwest East Coast, very honored of this afternoon, right, stepping up to the plate of Brianna, being the point of contact for that. So there's Haile Paragupa and Brianna. Yeah, if you just wanted to quickly introduce yourself for folks in the Midwest and East Coast, just so there's, we have so many people willing to help, and we can spread the love.
Yeah,
It's a
no,
big region.
Sejus Masi, it's just wonderful to be involved and be able to plug in. As everyone can see by this map, the Midwest and East Coast is a huge, massive region. And I think, just very thrilled and excited and honored to be involved and coordinate and be a point of contact. And from what I've seen, just continue to push those monetary donations and those Amazon donations or other physical donations. Sina Heidi, would you suggest also if they didn't want to use Amazon, that they could send those physical donations to an address as well?
Yes, they can. We could put our post box, our PO box locally if they want to send a check. If they're not, some of our Minamka are not technically savvy. So yes, we can definitely do that too as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, and I know many of us here in the Midwest have also just, been thinking about preparedness for the future and what that might look like to coordinate in the future, because we know this climate crisis is not ending. Other ports and other areas of the Midwest and the Northeast as well for the future. So, yeah, Sanamasi, thank you so much.
All righty, Janae.
Hold on, there was a question. From Puerto Rico, Caribbean, and our East Coast diaspora, they're wondering if there's a preference between money or financial donation versus item donations. I'm not sure if that was covered while I was reading the chat.
It's really up to the individual. It is really up to the person that has the means. We're going to make it happen somehow, some way, and we'll be sure to get it to those who are in need. So whatever is easiest. We thought, this worked. The Amazon wish list worked with Mawar for even like those larger bulk items. That was really helpful. The stoves, the tarps, water filters. Kutturan CHamoru bought, I don't know how many countless water filter straws, the life straws. Those were very helpful because Guam's water is not quite running yet, and I'm sure back home in Rota and Tinian and Saipan, it's very spotty. So those life straws were very helpful from what we were told when the time of Mawar. So we will definitely share all of this out. If you want to be part or want to help any of these regional contacts, please let us know in the chat. We will add you to that chat. And we will continue to also take in any donation locations across the US. And even Hawaii. We don't have anyone out of Hawaii that has come forward to say that they want to be a point of contact. So let us know how we can assist and bring this all together.
I think I might have seen in the chat there being people wanting to organize a fundraiser in Hawaii. So, and what we want to say too is that, like the 115 of us together on this call, like our collective wisdom is far greater than just the few of us who are speaking, tonight. And so if there are solutions or opportunities or things that haven't been figured out yet, like this is you have like the blessing and consent and permission to like come up with those solutions and share it with the rest of the group because there's only so many hours in the day. But if all of us like together, that's the Inafa'maolek part. That's like the Inafa'maolek Mutual Aid part is us figuring out solutions together. So if one of us doesn't have an answer, if you come up with the answer, like we'll share that with everyone else. And I think that actually like might be a good transition to kind of talking about a part of this that we learned from Mawar and want to introduce for this time around, and it's called After the Storm. So, Tiha, are you still on the call? I know it's so late. It's so late on the East Coast.
Buenas and hafide, sentido, guahusi professor, Patia, Antoinette Setfers McDaniel, Familian Kapili Zansungi, Tauta Bergada, Zantamuning, Lo Sumasakadzu, Pagugu, Gitsa, Cleveland. So for those of you who don't understand, which again is an outcome not of our own choosing or that of our parents or grandparents so much as the suppression of our language, starting with a naval governor interdiction. What I wanted to offer and invite people to do is to consider joining a new group called After the Storm. I think many of us are probably familiar with that beautiful ballad by Microchild, right? Melofani Pakso, The Storm Will Pass. And it's important. I'll read just a little bit, just a couple. Don't worry, I won't sing. I don't have that capacity. But, just a couple of the lyrics to remind you, Gaigi Fion mo, I'm next to you. Malofani Paksu, the storm is past. Gaigi Ifion mo. So, we are all here together. At the same time, we have I want to express my deep gratitude who gof agradeci ta agradeci todas hamzu, who have been organizing si Saina Itzeluhu, Saina Heidi with the Kutturan CHamoru. I did not know that it went. I knew that you had 3 decades under your belt, sister. Chelu, but I was not aware. I was busy teaching in the academy still. So I'm so proud to see the long track record going back to the mid 2000s. So, but what I'd like to offer at this point is really sort of to think about, right now we're in emergency. This is real time, real deadlines, real necessities of getting both money and supplies and donations out to California. And so I want to recognize that first and foremost. However, I'd also like us to, this is really an invitation and for those of us, particularly in the Midwest, but elsewhere as well in the South, in untapped areas or regions, because again, that region number 4, I mean, there's a lot of diversity. I mean, it's very diverse. There are groups, the CHamoru groups in Florida, in North Carolina, in South Carolina, groups that are forming now, because I think this sense of this upswell of pride in our community and the resilience of our community, but it's also, I'm a sociologist by training. It's also the case since 2020 that there have been like 300, 400, 500% percentage grades of expansion of CHamoros into places like Oklahoma, if they weren't already there, into all over that huge region that was called region number 4. So with that in mind, I'd like, and also speaking kind of directly and indirectly to MCCA, Prute Lutetson, all the wonderful people on the ground who we so love and appreciate, is to sort of try to figure out a way with all the existing groups and all those who are clearly so excited to contribute to, after the storm passes, to reconvene and maybe do a debrief of what went well and what we could do better, but also to build capacity and structures with a little more stability. Unfortunately, the political and geographic reality is that these are no longer exceptional events. We can, unfortunately, and the Pacific Islands in particular, despite not having contributed to the cause of climate change, are on the front lines of devastation, of sinking islands, and yet, at the same time, we are proud people who have existed for millennia, knowing how to navigate, but we are up against new, truly devastating threats, existential threats to our people. And so the idea is to just tender this or ask you to earmark your interest and your motivation to be part of this movement, to remember to come back after the storm has passed, so we can start talking about building stable structures, so that it's not always about, okay, we've got to mobilize, but rather to have enduring conversations with our partners across the country, including new regions. I've seen people from Colorado, I know there's tremendous talent. For example, Brianna has been riding herd and in the Midwest and putting out very quickly important social media messages. But I also know recently, having had the privilege to attend the repatriation of a number of our ancestors' relics from the Natural History Museum, that there's a great deal of talent and energy in just in New York, but there's so much untapped talent, and I'd really like to ask all of you, if you're here now, let's keep pushing together and get our Galidi sailing and get the donations to the people who need them right now at the various islands, CNMI, as well as Chuck and our other sister islands, but also to remember to sort of earmark some time to come back and have a conversation. I know I'm really so proud of both Maria and Muñeca for being part of building capacity. But I think I'm just asking us to think about how can we cultivate new centers of how can we fill in that number 4 regional leads a little more? Because I know the desire is there and our communities are spread across the country. And those communities are growing fast. I also want to mention, shout out to the Marshallese community in Saline, Ohio, in Arkansas, and across all of this red zone that we want to turn blue in the sense of, blue ocean. I'll leave it at that. But for now, just again, the name of the group, what's the name of the group that we created just this afternoon after the storm? Malofin Después y Paxu. Please come and just remember to come back and have conversations with Maria, with Putehi, with Kutturan, with Haliparagupa, so we can put all of our hands together and again be the wayfinders that we have always been. Because when things get hard and when resources are scarce, I've always been taught we will always have enough if we share, and we will always find a way if we work together. So thank you for that. And again, this is for after the storm, and you might want to put your jams on for Microchild to kind of raise your spirits as well at this time. Thank you so much, Zeus Masi, for all the work that everyone is doing and for the time that everyone's spending, especially those of us on the East Coast. It's late. I'm a biha at this point, and it's past my bedtime, but I'm so glad to be here, and thank you for this time and just allowing me to offer this invitation. Zeus Masi.
Yes. We are nearing the end. We just have a few more things to cover, but we want to keep the momentum going. And we just want to share some FAQs as well as other ways to get involved. So I'm going to switch over to Janae. And yeah.
I was in the middle of typing in the chat, but I guess I'll just say it. No more chat watching for me. Hi, everybody. So one of the things I noticed when everybody started coming and approaching and asking, the fabulous question, how can I help? We kept getting a lot of the answers. Most of them we have kind of already touched upon within the conversations that have been happening up to this point. Auntie Heidi, do you want me to just go over the questions real quick, one by one?
Yes.
Okay. So the first question was, how can we best help the Marianas right now? Prior to this particular meeting, the answer was direct funds to MCCA, and then a couple of the other verified community organizations that we had. Those will, again, hopefully be up on the link tree here over the weekend. We're kind of playing catch up after the flood of information and help, which has been amazing. If you want to donate goods, once again, there are 2 hubs at the moment that are confirmed: Northern California, Southern California. And hopefully by Monday or so, maybe Tacoma. If you're not on the West Coast, then Guma Hale Hara Agupa has created the Amazon wish list. And if you're just not able to get it to the West Coast, that is probably the best option, or sending it directly to KCF's PO Box. We'll get that information out as well. If you want to volunteer in person, of course, at any of the organizations that are hosting donation drop-offs or the container loading, stuff like that, there will be plenty of opportunities. We will make sure that information gets out so that you have your choice of how you can help best, because it's going to take many, many, many hands, and us islanders, us Chamorros are very good at getting stuff done when there's a lot of us. If you want to host a donation drop-off, technically speaking, anywhere is available in the US. You just have to make sure you get the items to the containers, which we are working on a couple of different solutions for that. Once again, refer to the Amazon wish list. Sorry if I'm talking really fast. It's a little bit of nerves. One question is, why do we have to work off the donation list? There are a lot of complicated things when it comes to shipping across the ocean. Best practices is just to work with what you got and what you know works and make sure it gets to the islands. Eventually, hopefully in the after the storm portion, we will figure out how to increase our capacity for things that we know are needed, but are not necessarily easy to ship or cheap to ship. So back burner stuff that we will hopefully get to after the crisis. If you want to ship something directly, we are working on that as well. That information will follow as soon as we get it. Right now, Oregon, Vancouver, that's Marianas dropship is the only viable option that is currently being endorsed at the moment. But we will hopefully have more information on that. And the last one, if you have any skills that you would like to offer, I am in my former lifetime a trained commercial artist and have suddenly returned to that particular aspect. But if you have any kind of skills that you want to use for this particular event or in the future, please reach out to me via the Inafa'maolek Mutual Aid on Instagram. That's the best way to get a hold of me, or the WhatsApp groups. And let us know how you're able to help, what skills you can donate. And yeah, so I think that covers all the frequently asked questions. And I pass it back to Auntie Heidi.
Thank you so much. Well, everyone, we have come to the end. We apologize for going over an hour. We did our best. I think maybe we just want to do one more update on the ground. Maneka, if you guys can just update us one more time. We'll just stay on for a couple more minutes. But we want to thank everyone for attending. We know that Friday night, is family night. It's time to relax. The week is end, but we are all going to continue to do what we can and provide as much resources as we can throughout until those containers are out. But as Professor Antoinette mentioned too, we will plan to gather afterwards and ensure that we follow and follow up with any do's and don'ts and highs and lows, so that we can ensure that putting this together again and reactivating Inafa'maolek Mutual Aid is just as quick as we did this time around. So I'm going to pass it to one more time for Manek or Maria to just give one last update on the ground back home.
Thanks, everyone. Definitely came into the meeting feeling very it's been just so chaotic here on the ground, and I'm really after spending time with you and just connecting with all the wisdom and the strength in the room, I'm feeling a lot more calm and knowing that our people, especially those who need it most, will be getting the care that they need. As we were throughout the whole day, we've been getting updates from our folks on the ground in Saipan, Tinian, and Rota, who already been at majority of the shelters on Saipan, Tinian, and Rota to pass out necessary hygiene and other materials needed, like diapers, to the community members who lost their homes in the shelters. We've also been able to procure gas stipends and some other things that we'll be getting updates out on our chats and on social media as soon as we understand where our coordinators want to be distributing out of. We also got word from another partner who's going to be working with Protecti Guahan and with our Commonwealth 670 to be doing the direct aid work, and they're going to be launching a website and a directory for direct aid called on sinlakuaid.org as soon as tomorrow. I think Sunday is their launch day, and that's just going to streamline all of the cash aid from the different grantors that both OCW 670 Protecti Guahan and NIHI will be filtering through, and also we will also be sending some of the donations our way to those groups so they could handle that direct aid response work. Already, they just launched the form last night, and within a few hours, they got 100 requests for that direct aid. We know that that's the most helpful way to help people right now is getting people money on the ground. One thing that we do know that that our organizers and coordinators on the ground can do, because a lot of what those platforms are doing is, if you have a PayPal, if you have a Zelle, we're going to try to get actual cash to people using using our network and the funds that they receive, and that's something that we're developing in real time. Is there anything else? Yeah,
we have a lot of questions about volunteers. People really want to get involved, so we will be starting a volunteer chat for anybody interested in one or on the ground. So keep an eye
on that. And I wish we had an ability to share photos, and we will hopefully be better about our social media presence, but we've also been able to help the dialysis patients who've just been stuck without cars, without power and water, and without really any availability to be walking or going to get supplies. And those are the dialysis patients in Rhoda, and now we're getting some funds. We're sending funds in the next 10 minutes to the director of the person in charge of the referral patients from Tinian as well as in Saipan. So the requests come our way, and we try to address them as soon as we can for these urgent requests for needs, especially from our Manampu and our elder and our Malongo or our chronically ill relatives.
Thanks, Masi, to you all. We can stay on for a couple more minutes if you want to ask any direct questions. I do see a couple hands up. Gausali, did you want to?
Yes, Håfa Adai. I hope everyone can hear me. We joined a bit later. We're organizing from Portland State University. We have a Micronesian Student Coalition, and if you need any power in the Vancouver area, we're happy to provide support in numbers. I also want to introduce my friend here. This is Jude Latilamar. He's behind the link tree that everyone is sharing. So if you have any resources that aren't currently on there, please don't hesitate to contact him. I've sent his email in the chat, and we're actively just wanting to support our community back home, doing everything we can. We've been spending every second of our days streamlining updates, sharing donation links, donating, doing everything we can. And if there are any resources that we are unaware of, we're trying to report and disperse donations for even Chuk, Saipan, Tinian, Duta, Guam as well, and we're happy to contribute in any way we can.
Yes, we hope to use the link tree as a way to centralize all these different disaster relief aid supports. And also there's a section under there for individual family support. So if you guys have any family or know anyone with family members that have their own GoFundMes or their own PayPals, I can include that. It's located at the bottom, but I'd also included stuff for Chuk as well and Tinian, Saipan, and Guam.
Iba.
Thank you
so much.
Guasili, can I just ask, this is Auntie Antoinette, Professor Tafaris. Are you
Yes.
all in touch with PISA organizations at all, Pacific Islander student associations across? Because I know there are more of those. And although I'm thrilled to see that there's a Micronesian Student Association as well. Are you from, because I think that's another place that we could do some outreach. And I'd be happy to be on an email with either of you to approach them. I saw that there was a representative here from NPN. Is that right? Is there someone here who we could also connect with? The National Pacific Islander Educational Network would be another place that we could possibly follow up.
Yes.
Yes, I'm here for Uncle Victor.
Okay, so I saw him last night, but he would be another place where we can sort of push universities to help us through those student organizations get some leverage some dough.
Absolutely.
Salapé.
You actually attended PISACon recently.
Pipa.
Able to network over there, and if we can channel any news to that network and system and get more hands involved, we'd be more than happy to.
Okay, very good. So, are you on the WhatsApp chat? Can I find you there?
Yes.
Okay.
We've been on there.
Yeah, and I'm at CHamoru Pathways, so
Gotcha.
you can DM me there. Okay, Biba.
Biba.
Anybody else?
One question for those that are using the Amazon list. Is there a cutoff date for when you want them shipped by, i.e. the 6th or something?
Planted in there.
Okay.
It has to be delivered no later than Wednesday, I believe the
6th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 6th. So in order for us to be able to sort everything and to label it out and combine it with everything else, I think Teresita put the cutoff as like May 1st to be delivered if you're not, Amazon Prime or yeah. All right. So yeah, for all the locations and regional areas that will be listed, we definitely want to have, a meeting with all of you just to share best practices. We will also provide listing on how to, sort out and list out anyone who's donating to specific locations, especially, at the Guam Club, since they are a nonprofit. The House of CHamoru is down in Balboa. Same thing. Anything to Kutturan CHamoru, you can be provided, a receipt for your donation. So keep those in mind. Inafa'maolek.us as well. They will provide that if anyone needs that kind of thing. So be on the lookout. Probably in a week, we will reconvene for those who have pick up and drop off locations. All righty. I think we're still, anything else? Oh.
Actually, I have a really quick question about the Jones Act. Does the Jones Act impact CNMI in terms of requiring? No. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Because that's another colonial vestige of, some of the restrictions of getting supplies in. Nancy. So CNMI can receive shipments from non-American vessels, correct? Or non-American crude vessels.
I believe so, but I would want to double check that.
Okay.
I think it's air. I'm not too sure about shipping. But
okay.
Yeah, we can find out.
And then we have Alexandria. You had a hand up?
Hello. Håfa Adai, buenas and aloha. My name is Ali and my family is from Tamunding and Barrigada. We're currently organizing a fundraising event and also Micronesia Festival is coming up next week at the Bishop Museum. And brainstorming about being able to fund some sort of a like silent auction. So if anyone is aware of either artists or people here that would be interested in potentially donating their art so that we can do an auction like that, that would be really helpful. But other than that, I think it just sounds great to be able to coordinate with everyone for our regions to be able to plan for aid. So it's great to see everybody here. And yep, Susan.
Alexandria, are you in the WhatsApp group? Perfect. Okay, I will be in touch.
All righty. Anybody else before we close out? I don't see any more hands up.
I'll just invite anyone who wants to support with behind the scenes logistics in terms of Google Forms, keeping these sheets updated, um, going through this chat, doing the notes, uploading, like any behind the scenes the work. Like if you're, if you're like on the more introverted end and like to do screen-based stuff, like we need we need the support and love. So any way that you want to show up and support, share it in the chat, share it in the WhatsApp group, and yeah, we'll plug in, and it's gonna be like a really beautiful thing that all of us do together. So we know our relatives are really struggling right now, but we're just gonna send all the love we can their way, and it's gonna show up both in monetary ways and donation ways, but also like with our heart and our love and our prayers. This is thank you all so much for staying on so late. But yeah, I'll hand it off to
Oh,
you.
Alex, I have one last
Por
thing.
favor.
Just speaking on Google Forms, data collection, those sort of tasks, we are working with an org, the cross-territorial org called Right to Democracy, and their Environment and Democracy Fellowship cohort, which I'm part of. They've just noticed the gap in their own experiences responding to disasters around, just getting that data collected just with the lack of Wi-Fi and connection. So I just wanted to just very quickly give a moment to is Addie or Imani still on the chat. They're able to assist with the back end of things and be sort of an admin on if needed.
Great, thank you, Maria. All righty. So we'll close this out. We just want to thank everyone again for listening in, for participating, for just hearing what we have put together, and continue to look out for our posts. Any information, we will make sure to put that on the Instagram accounts of the partners that you can share out. We are so thankful for all of you, for everything that you have done up to this point and continue to do in every little, small, big, huge way. We can't thank you all enough. So, Sana Ma'asi, have a beautiful weekend, get some rest, and we will reconvene very soon. I think it's going to be on Wednesday, but that has not fully been decided yet. But we will definitely get back to all of you, and thank you all again. Once again, we really appreciate it. Sana Ma'asi, and have a great night.
And yeah, Yamari, do you want to do end this with the Kulu? Peace.
Yeah, babe.
Yeah. Viva.
Viva. So cute.
All
right.
Are we gonna stay on the chat, guys? Okay.
Yep. Susmasitos Hamzu. Hamzu. Have a wonderful night. Mickey.
Igos Masi, everyone. Love you guys.
Oh, there's my dad.
Good to see everybody's faces. So I'm hugging you and kissing you from afar.
Hey. Tatahu.
Igos Masi.
Yes, señor.
Oh my gosh.
Buenas, señor.
Tata, there's a